This review is to help you prepare for your upcoming exam. In this video, I will give you some information about the exam and some tips to help you study for the exam. And then after this video, there are a few problems, about 5, that we've picked from the material to help you prepare. The 5 problems, you'll be able to work through them as many times as you want to. And then after each problem, there is a video of me working the problem step by step so that you can see how the problem is solved. That way, if you're having trouble solving it, you can watch the video to see how it is solved. So the exam is soon. Make sure you check your schedule of due dates to see the exact date of the exam. You don't want to miss the exam, obviously. The exam will not show up in MyMathLab except on the day that it is open. So if you look in MyMathLab the day before it's scheduled, you won't see the exam. It will only show up in MyMathLab on the day that it is scheduled. So make sure you check your schedule of due dates to know when it is scheduled. So the exam will open at midnight at 12 a.m. on the day of the exam, and it will close that evening at 11:59 p.m. So you can have any time within that 24-hour period to take your exam. You will need an hour and 15 minutes to complete the exam. The exam is timed. You have an hour and 15 minutes. So make sure that you have everything ready for the exam prior to starting the time. Make sure you've got your notes, your scratch paper, a calculator, something to write with, all of that ready before you begin so that you don't waste your time looking for those materials. Make sure you check your schedule of due dates to know exactly what sections this exam covers. The 5 problems that we've chosen to work through in this review are a good example of problems from the exam, but obviously they're not going to encompass everything that's on the exam. Your exam has a lot more than 5 problems. And so we went through and picked about 1 problem per section just to give you a good example of what type of problem you will see. Now, again, obviously you need to study a lot more than just these 5 problems. Everything that we have covered is going to be on the exam. So make sure that you look back over the lessons, the homework assignments, and the quizzes. Remember to review those problems on the lessons, the homework assignments, and the quizzes after you've turned them in. You have to go to the gradebook tab in MyMathLab. So when you select the gradebook tab, you'll see all of the assignments that have been turned in and graded, and they'll have a review link button next to each one. And so whichever one you want to look at, you want to review, click review, and you can go back in and look at all of the problems on that assignment. But notice also that when you are reviewing, it shows you the correct answer to the problem in the answer box. And if you missed it, you can click inside the answer box and it will show you what you answered. And so you can see what you answered, you can see what the correct answer is, and you can have access to those problems to rework them in order to help you study. Remember also the study plan in MyMathLab. You can use the study plan to help you. It'll give you additional problems. You can choose which sections, which concepts that you want to practice on. You can do any of the problems in the study plan and it won't affect your grade at all. Because you're able to use your notes on the exam, the biggest challenge to the exam is probably going to be the time limit. So make sure you're aware of your time as you're going through the exam. MyMathLab shows you your remaining time in the upper right corner. So make sure that you're watching your time as you go through. You are able to skip through problems in MyMathLab, so you might want to work the shorter problems, the easier problems first, so that if you get stuck on a longer or harder problem, you don't waste all your time and are not able to answer the short ones. So answer the shorter, the easier problems first, and then go back and use your remaining time to work on the more challenging, longer problems. You can go back and change answers if you'd like as well. When you are done and you click submit, whatever answers are in the answer box at that point is what MyMathLab will grade. Again, to help with the time limit, it's best if you prepare for this exam as though you cannot use your notes. If you're able to work the majority of the problems without taking the time to look them up, then you'll have more time that you can spend looking up problems for the more difficult ones. I would also recommend that you summarize your notes. create a formula sheet. That way you only have 2 or 3 pages that you're flipping through and not having to flip through 20 to 30 pages of all of your notes to find the formula or the concept you're looking for. And then lastly, I would also recommend creating and taking a practice test with a time limit, because again, the time limit is a big factor, and that's usually what causes a lot of test anxiety. So if you know you struggle with that, then try a practice exam with a time limit so that you're working under those same conditions and it'll be more familiar when you are taking the exam. Again, the remaining part of this review is going to be approximately 5 problems that we've picked out. The problem that you can work, and then after that, there will be a video showing how I worked that problem. Again, remember that those 5 problems are not the only 5 problems you should study. They are just a very general example of a few problems that will be on the exam. Make sure that you're going back and looking at all of the other problems, all of the other concepts, and you're prepared for everything that's going to be on the exam, not just these 5 problems. If you have any questions prior to the exam, make sure that you're contacting your instructor either through email or going by office hours. But we want to make sure that you get any questions answered prior to the exam. If you have any questions, let us know. Good luck.